Well, today marks the 10th anniversary of Nelson Mandela's passing in December 2013. And to commemorate this, the Nelson Mandela Foundation has themed the 10-year Remembrance call to action, "The legacy lives on through you." And among the activities to honor Madiba, Pakistani education activist and Nobel Peace Prize laureate Malala Yousafzai will deliver the 21st Nelson Mandela annual lecture in Johannesburg today. Now, Malala and a panel of activists are expected to reflect on the lessons from the anti-Apartheid struggle and Madiba's legacy. So to reflect on Madiba's vision and values, we're joined virtually now by the Nelson Mandela Foundation's acting CEO, Verne Harris. Verne, thanks so much for speaking to us this morning and welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you. Great pleasure.
10 years already, and many of us started thinking about where we were 10 years ago when that sad news came through, but of course not unexpected. 10 years on, how do you, as the CEO of the acting CEO of the foundation, reflect on Madiba, his role, and of course the 10 years since his passing?
Well, I think for me personally, and I think I can speak for the organization as a whole, more than ever, we're reminded of the words that he gave not only us, but the whole world, actually. You will remember this when he said, "It's in your hands now." And more than then, when he told us that, and that was 2008, and that was the message he kept conveying to us until he died. More than ever, we need that inspiration to keep going. The challenges get bigger and bigger, but if the legacy of Madiba means anything, it means that we keep going, we keep struggling for that just society, and we don't give up.
And that very sentiment, that it is in your hands now, speaks, of course, to the agency that each one of us has in terms of making a difference and bringing about the sort of change that we want to see. But more than that, when we think of Madiba, we think of his total commitment to justice and the fight against injustice and our duty as individuals and as collective societies. So, we're asking a question this morning, Verne, about the lessons that we've learned from Madiba and what we can take forward. As a foundation, what are the lessons that you are espousing right now?
Well, many, of course, and one of them has to do with what you've just been alluding to, the endurance. You keep going, and there is no quick fix. That long walk to freedom is a walk that never actually ends, and I think it's one of the really tough lessons that we're learning in South Africa, and I think many other societies as well, is that the moment a society says we have freedom, it begins to unravel. It only means something significant as long as we keep fighting for it, we keep growing it, we keep reimagining it, because the world is changing all the time. And I think that's the last thing I would name in terms of Madiba, is the need to respond to changed realities. We can't simply keep using old formulas, old languages, idioms. Sometimes we have to come up with something fresh. And I think for South Africa, as we face the challenges that we're looking at as 2023 comes to an end, we need fresh ideas, we need fresh energy, and I think we need fresh role models. We can't keep hankering after that generation that did so much for us.
So what do you think the role of the foundation should be at a time like this, Verne? Because obviously, we also live in a time where people are critical, and rightly so. They question, they challenge even the legacy of Madiba himself, who throughout his life called for peace, he called for social justice, equality, and for better human understanding among all of us. So what role do you think the foundation ought to be playing? And do you think you've been playing that role effectively, especially for South Africans and how they deal with issues such as racism, such as discrimination? We've got gender-based violence, which has reached pandemic levels in our country. How do you ensure that Madiba's legacy lives on?
No, thank you. That's such a good question. Madiba gave us a new mandate back in 2007, and the role he gave us was threefold. One is to keep doing that deep memory work. In other words, reckon with our pasts. If we don't, then those pasts will reckon with us. Secondly, a mandate to bring people together, to convene dialogues, and especially to get people who perhaps don't even want to see one another, to listen to one another and to find those solutions together. And then the third role is in the realm of ideas, is that we have to begin to think outside of the box. We think of democracy. It's clear that democracy is not working for the great majority of the people who live in South Africa. Now, that places a challenge on us. We have to reimagine democracy. Maybe we need to be thinking of completely new ways of organizing society. So that is the role, a threefold role, Sakina, and I mean, we can always do better, and we're striving to do better.
Absolutely. Striving to do better, but it's also tough times, Verne. Right now, so many NGOs are buckling under the pressures financially and otherwise. How's it going for the foundation at this time?
Well, like other structures of civil society, it's not getting easier. And so for us, it's a constant imperative to be looking in the mirror, reflecting on how we do things, what works really well, what is not working so well anymore, and constantly ensuring that on the one hand, we're fit for purpose, and on the other, that we're sustainable.
Today, of course, Verne, is also the lecture, the annual Nelson Mandela lecture, and of course, Malala Yousafzai. What a great, draw card as a speaker this year. What can people look forward to?
Well, a number of things, I would say. The youngest person ever to give the Nelson Mandela annual lecture. We're going back to the venue where it all started for us. The very first lecture took place at the Johannesburg Theatre. So there'll be that dimension of memory and nostalgia, I think. But people can expect a different kind of lecture. It's going to be a fresh format. I won't give too much away there, but I think it's going to feel like renewal.
Well, Verne, we look forward to that, and of course we will be carrying it, no doubt, in our news just to make sure that people know what came out of that. But thank you so much for speaking to us this morning, Verne Harris, the Nelson Mandela Foundation's acting CEO, helping us reflect there on Madiba's legacy and also what needs to be done going forward.